This episode of Inside the Goblin Universe brought to you by SeatsLink.com, the complete ticket experience. Use promo code GOBLIN with your purchase. SeatsLink.com.
Hi, this is Riz Mirza, psychic medium and trance channel from Los Angeles, California, speaking to you from Red Eagle Ranch, home of the Circle of Light, Los Angeles' premier trance channeling event that happens weekly, Tuesday nights at 7:30 Pacific Standard Time, and you are listening to Inside the Goblin Universe.
Hello again, folks, and welcome to another edition of Inside the Goblin Universe. I am one of your hosts. My name is Ronald Murphy.
I'm Bryan Bowden. I'm the other host.
And we are on video tonight. How about that?
Video. We have a special show, right?
Tell us about the special show, Bryan.
Well, I recently got in touch. I love technology because we grew up in an age where you didn't have, you had a phone number, you were lucky. But we have someone very special on. This person is considered to be the best trance channeler of his time. He is a premier psychic medium. He's also a friend of mine. And we're welcoming to the show. We're not going to waste any time, folks. Riz Mirza. Yes. Riz Mirza. Riz, welcome to Inside the Goblin Universe, my friend.
Thank you very much. A pleasure to be inside this universe with you.
Yeah, we're very flattered to have you in here as well, too, my friend. And so let's just cut right to the chase. So Bryan and I have been talking as 2018 has dawned, and we're going into the first, week and a half into it. We have done everything that we possibly can do to cut the negativity from our lives. Yep. Truly, I mean, this is a focused decision on our behalf that we do want to foster peace and goodwill. So what happens whenever we cut the negativity from our lives, but it keeps on seeping back in? What do we do, my friend?
Well, it's very interesting because last night, today's the day after my Circle of Light, and every week I channel. And last night I was listening after the Circle to a recording. For me, trance channeling, as you guys know, and I'm sure some of your listeners know, that trance channeling is when a medium literally leaves their consciousness leaves their body and allows spirit guides, higher ascended teachers, higher consciousness, whatever word you choose to use for this intelligence that is some people in the universe. Some people call it the Force, right?
Right.
So I listened back to recordings, and one of the women who came was her first time to the Circle, and she said, I just want to know if this year is going to be a good year. What a very simple, honest, and authentic question. And so the spirit guide who I channel, one of the spirit guides whom I channel is Red Eagle, and he said to her something very fascinating, and he said, it's time that we start taking the words good and bad, for now, out of our vocabulary, because we are defining good and bad by a certain criterion that has to do with, am I getting what I want?
Ah, that's huge.
Good is, I'm getting what I want. For example, then he said to her, for example, when people see you and they say, so how's it going? Hey, how's your relationship going? Here's where it goes for most people. The thought process is, if my partner is doing what I want, relationship's going great. If my partner's deviating from that pretty much in any way, from a little bit to a lot, relationship's not going so great. That's our criterion after how many hundreds of thousands, millions of years, whatever your belief system is as to how long we've been on this planet. That's our criterion for how our relationship is going, that question. So said, why don't we rephrase this good and bad idea? And instead of saying, is this going to be a good year? Let's leave that alone and let's adopt, and see if this makes sense to you, to adopt a new philosophy that says, I understand that that which is occurring is in divine perfection for me. For what? Because we always say, for you in what larger context? Well, for you to have your personal evolution, and perhaps that is the reason you have come here, is to have your personal evolution. Now that sounds great when we just say it to one another, right. But when we actually have to do it,
that's part of the problem.
Yeah, I think whenever you address a higher power, I think one of the most difficult things you can possibly do is say the words "Thy will be done."
Now I have a yes, Ron, but I have a solution.
Excellent.
I'm ready. The solutions.
Okay,
go.
So everyone out there has said, "Why is the universe doing this to me?" Or "Why is God doing this to me?"
Yep,
or,
every day. Yep, every day whenever I wake up, you got this. Yep.
I'm all about redefining, taking control of our inner vocabulary and our external vocabulary, and say, well, instead of me saying, anytime where I'm going to use the word, "Why is God or the universe doing this to me?" I say to people, replace those words with "my future self."
So why is my future self doing
Creating
this
this
to me?
situation for me now? There was a keyword, for me.
For me. That's very interesting
me.
prospect, because we are blind to what we don't know is in the future. So we don't know that the path we're on right now is actually leading to nirvana, or whatever you want to call it.
Or whatever band you like. I mean, Nirvana's great.
They're all right. Actually, I'm a Dave Grohl personally, versus Nirvana.
Whatever spiritual awakening leads you to, original Kiss members from 1977.
Yes. God bless. Party all night.
God bless rock and roll.
Yes. God, but that's a very key thing. Why are they doing it now? So I will get something later. But I don't know what I'm going to get, and it may not necessarily be what I technically want in my brain, but it's what I need. So let's go back to the Rolling Stones. You don't get what you want, you get what you need.
Well, they were onto something.
Oh yeah,
because they meaning artists who affect us. We have this. Perhaps it's a recent phenomenon, meaning the last 1,000 years. I'm not sure, right? Because I don't necessarily remember all the details of my past life, but I think this is fairly recent, that I had a conversation with someone maybe 6 or 7 years ago, and it was one of those Facebook friendships that after you start disagreeing, it's like, I guess I can't be friends with this person anymore.
Yeah.
But I wasn't the one who deleted. He deleted me.
I don't delete anybody, by the way.
Because I said to him, he had just written a simple Facebook post saying, my friends have always enjoyed my good taste in music, and always said my good taste in music, and I really pride myself in that, and I want to share something. So everything's innocent, but it sounded like I just smelled something that was coming from that, and I said, "Your good taste in music." So what does good taste means? When I say to you, "Hey, Ron, you have good taste in music," all I'm saying is that I also like that music.
You agree with me. That's right. That's right.
Oh, yeah.
So good taste is acquired. I didn't like olives when I was a kid, and now I can't stop eating olives. Mm-hmm. And so what changes is there's an internal, watch this, and I'm going to use olives as the example.
Okay.
I'm ready.
What is flavor? It is information that your tongue receives. Your tongue is a receptor, and has receptors, which you call taste buds. So it is receiving information. So your taste buds are receiving this information, and then your brain is processing that information, but your brain isn't the one that decides whether it's good or bad. It's your mind. Brain, mind.
Wow.
So then you go, because it's just receiving information. You grew up watching people's reactions to if something smelled bad. Oh, that stinks. And because little kids, they don't know what stinks.
Yes.
Obviously, if you raise kids, they don't know what stinks.
Oh, yeah.
Think about it. So we all have kids here. Little kids don't know what stinks. If they stink, they don't know. You're like, "You stink. You need to take a bath." "Oh my God, your breath. Go brush your teeth." They're not even interested because they haven't defined that in any way. It's not even important to them. But the moment they start having some sort of criterion for this smells good, this is good taste, this is a good year because I got what I wanted. Instead of, we're not being raised with We are self-generating beings that are creating a reality. Now, what does that mean? Some people think, oh, that means it was my fault that I got a flat tire. Let's just get even more basic than that. Your reality is how you feel. But, what other reality is there for you that you're living? Because there are people who are in jail who mentally are not in jail.
Oh, yeah.
There are people who are not sad at a funeral. There are people who are sad at a party. So inner environment. Everything is what we're here to talk about. This inner universe is the one where we are so able to affect the information we receive. Remember the flavor of the olives?
Right.
And then something changes. People go, well, my tastes have changed. How did your taste change? How come you like olives, Riz, now? You hated them when you were a kid. Oh, you traveled? Oh, you traveled? Yeah, I traveled. I went to Morocco, and I was overcome by the beauty of the people, and then I saw that they were, like, eating olives. And it was not some joke in a jar, at supermarket.
It's the real deal.
Associate other things with olives, so now I was a little bit more open. And then, because my perspectives are widening, my opinions, even my literal taste buds, are starting to change. Whatever that even means. I mean, I think they're cellularly the same taste buds. But then the mind has changed its opinion about the taste.
No, I can understand that. I do. What you're saying makes perfect sense to me. The idea that you were able to travel, that opens yourself up to now experiencing the reality of other people. You know what I mean? You're not isolated anymore. You're not.
Right. So what is travel? Let's say that a little kid says to you, Ron, I don't want you to use the word other countries, and I don't want you to use the word planes or any vehicle or transportation. I just want you to tell me what travel is. Right? Because then we're going to be talking about inner travel.
I'm going to use the word enlightenment. And we've been using a lot of that word on this program now, because what people are missing is being enlightened. And enlightenment is knowledge. And from knowledge, you start using certain faculties of your mind to expand or grow like a flower. And you take in more from it. So it's enlightenment, and that's what travel is. You get enlightened.
Right. If it's done properly.
Right.
There has to be an intention involved. I do firmly believe that.
Well, I remember. Do you remember the show Married with Children?
Oh, absolutely.
So there was an episode 100%. Where the Bundys go to England, and Al Bundy is driving past palaces and the Parliament. And he doesn't care, and suddenly he goes, "Ooh, a McDonald's!" He's taking a picture of McDonald's.
I've seen that 1,000 times. So, the fact is, when you traveled and you started to have the olives, were you with just you and the missus, or were you with family?
No, I was 20. At the time I was 23, and my brother was working on a job in Morocco, and I went there to visit him. But I use it as a metaphor because I really am getting to his inner travel, right?
Right,
sure.
But that's my point. It depends on where you are in a stage, right? So when we're children, we're about here, and then when we start getting the teens, we're better than everybody else. And then as you get higher, you're attaining knowledge and you're expanding yourself. You're not narrow-minded. You're taught to think and widen your pathway. So I was wondering what point you were, because when we marry or we meet someone that we are soulmates or whatever you want to call them, that enhances the openness that you will have towards other things as well.
Absolutely, and if you resist it, look, I believe evolution is constantly happening. For example, let's say that, and here you guys are, and you are on this wave of sharing all of this knowledge with people out there, and it's growing, and my God, thanks to the internet. So you are part of this wave that is bringing this knowledge to people right in their own homes or wherever they may be. And at the same time, one can say that as that enlightenment is spreading, right, And we always say, well, what is it, this enlightenment? I found myself more and more being interested in spiritual wellness. And I look at what happens with doctors when they give a fitness test. What do? So you go into the doctor's office, they'll put you on the treadmill, and they put these little pads on you. They're checking your heart rate and all of those factors. And the way that they check your wellness is they have you start to walk and run faster, then slow down, then walk and run faster, then really fast and slow down. And what they're checking to see is how quickly you can raise your heart rate to get into your target heart rate and then come back down to your resting heart rate. Follow so far?
Right.
Okay. So, and the more easily that you get your heart rate up and bring it back to your resting heart rate, the more fit you are. If you're able to go up and down easily, you're coasting through, you're good. So, now let's go into spiritual. Let's put that to the left for a second. Now, spiritual wellness would be how quickly, or what, let's say you spin out. We all spin out emotionally. Triggers happen, we spin out. There's arguments, there's quote-unquote bad news. How quickly you come back to center, to me, is spiritual wellness. So something if something occurred, that would take me months, maybe months to get over. Now it'll take me an afternoon.
Right.
Because my inner travel has brought me to places that began to inspire me and get me curious. When I first, I was aware of my psychic vision as a child, and many psychics do say this, and I think it is a standard experience. But no one used those words for me. Eventually, into my 20s, and I was playing, I was doing art. I went to an arts high school, and I was playing music, and someone said, "Hey, you should come to this thing tonight. There's this guy named Alex Murray, and he's still in New York City, who does channeling, and you can get a reading. And he has spirit guides speak through him, and maybe you can find out about your artistic career." So I went. And lo and behold, I got an earful that I never forgot for the rest of my life as to what I would be doing with my life. And he said, simply put, that no, it wasn't in the arts, and certainly not yet, but that you would go on this spiritual path. And I thought it was crazy. And people who come to channeling circles sometimes get messages that they think are crazy. But I cannot tell you enough, Bryan and Ron, how many times I'll get an email from someone who says, "I came to your channeling circle 6 years ago, and it was really cool, but something you said to me was, I couldn't believe it. It was so crazy, and I thought you were crazy, but I just wanted to tell you, I am going to clown school now, and it's really blowing up for me."
Barber College is working out really well. But that's the thing I like. And I don't know if Ron is on there, because Ron, it sounds like you're on mute at this point.
No,
there we go. Yeah. So what I was thinking is, like, I love the fact that it resonates. And this, I think, is this the design? Is this what Red Eagle was saying to you? That it's not going to resonate now.
Yes.
Change your vision, because 25 years from now, 5 minutes from now, a half an hour now, you're going to go back and say, "Oh my God, Riz, I left your circle. I watched it on Facebook on Tuesday nights, and I was like, this is nuts. It's fun and entertaining, but nuts." And then I went, and all of a sudden, it happened.
That's right. It happens all the time, and I believe this. I believe this sincerely, and I'm a trans channel telling you this, because I fully believe in spirit guides, and I fully believe in a lot of things that people will think don't exist. But I will tell you this. If a message is being given to you that is striking a chord, now, parentheses, that doesn't mean you like it.
Right. That's
striking
huge. Thank you for saying that.
Okay,
Yeah.
Striking a chord. I don't care if it comes from a trans channel channeling a spirit guide, a fortune cookie, or a guy yelling it out to you from a passing truck. If it's within your six senses, it's for you. That message is coming out. It's for you. You're watching something. You're in line at the bank and somebody's arguing with the teller. That is for you also. Mm-hmm. You are there to see that. Now, you can get stuck in your opinions. But since you guys were talking earlier about, these words that people don't even want to say anymore, about great, blissful love, the magic of life, understanding this. And then we have this thing, why do I keep thinking negative thoughts? Where I always begin is, what is the ultimate negative for you? You go, well, if for most people it's you die or someone you love dies or someone you know suffers. Right. That's probably the worst thing. But we've all gone through it. Mm-hmm. Rarely have I met a person who hasn't been touched by that in their life. There are people. But as a medium, I will tell you guys, year after year, day after day, week after week, talking to people who have suffered immeasurable loss. You can, right now, so we're here in Southern California, I don't know if you guys are aware of what's happening out here.
Oh,
yes.
absolutely.
It's absolutely terrible what's going on out there. I hope,
Well, I'll tell you, I have a personal connection to it because I have a lot of people in Santa Barbara who come to my circles, and I do a circle up in Santa Barbara for many, many years. My youngest two stepdaughters, who we have shared custody of, live in Montecito. It's the only area of Santa Barbara these things hit. They happen to be in New York, extended their stay, right?
Yep.
And so they weren't there. They had to leave. They went home for a bit, and then they came back in the middle of the night. Evacuations happened, and they had to come here. They got out just in time before that. It's like a disaster movie.
Yeah, we've seen the
to have
the
boulders
pictures.
come through your house, right? So now there's two of their friends are missing, and we're just there's a lot of coming together, and we can look at silver linings. I think that we're kind of past Hallmark statements, not because they don't make any sense, but because thought is always going to evolve and understanding is always going to evolve. And so we're all here talking, and people are listening right now, and we're all just doing the best we can. We're doing the best to convey these things that we are talking to you guys out there about, and hopefully you're doing your best to understand it. Maybe if the language is perfect for you or not perfect for you, I hope that your listeners are going to get to the feeling here. And the feeling is, if we adopt that people say things happen for a reason. Mm-hmm. I'm going to put the idea of, we were to step into the shoes of those people. Now, we all probably have our stories of disaster and pain.
Oh, yeah.
Right now, this is what's happening over there. And listen, our focus, because we're in America, I'm here in California, but there's a lot of, my family's from India. I could probably bring you 20 reports of what happened in India today, and you're going to go, oh my God,
yeah,
what happened there? And everywhere. So we as a people are going, well, what is evolution? Personal evolution. I believe you got to come into your rebirth. So people out there who are listening, who are going through death, who are going through divorce or separation, who are going through, some people are out there going, I don't want to be a man anymore, or I don't want to be a woman anymore. Whatever that moment of, there's a change coming. What I want to say to all of you is, you didn't mess up your path. This is your sacred path. Everything that got you to where you are right now is your sacred path. You are going to do yourself a huge favor by eliminating the question, is this going to be a good year now? You are putting the control back in yourself and saying, I'm starting to connect the dots that no matter where I go, everything that I feel or think is my reality is affected or even created by my opinion or my feelings about it.
Right. Yeah, I'll tell you, I have to thank you for that, because that one little statement right there really has taken the veil off of my eyes, because that's the way I was looking at life. It was, poor me type of scenario, and I thought that I've been struggling to be this, this good person, a good father and everything like that. And I thought that I was on the right path. And for some reason, I thought that somehow I left that path. Right. And you really did. I mean, I'm starting to look at things from a totally different perspective right now. And I do thank you for that, because going through a divorce, I assume that you had a divorce as well, too, because you talked about the custody of your children.
Yes, I went through it through my wife, which almost, it has its own kind of pain, because you have all these boundaries, and you have all these, there is a history before you. And you have to respect that, and you have to try to see things balanced, and you have to still also be on your partner's side. And there are, my goodness, relationships, you want a spiritual university? We already have one. Just partner up.
Yeah, seriously.
Yeah.
I don't think it's much. You know what I say? Can I tell you?
Sure.
And I say this with a little sugar on it, and I say this a little bit tongue-in-cheek, but I'm still going to say it. So, I'm not really interested in listening to monks. And my family's from India, so monks are part of life, right? And monks are in every religion. But the idea of living somewhere on a mountain, dressing the same, talking the same, walking the same, drinking the same things, eating the same things, and reciting the same old mantras doesn't sound like God. God is down here with all us ugly people, quote unquote.
True.
It's everywhere. I don't think that could be it. Why? Because we want to constantly just be around the people we really need to be around. You will always be around the people you need to be around. Don't you worry. You're like, but I'm working in this place. You tell me I need to be around these people? Yeah. When people tell me they get fired, I usually say congratulations.
See, that's a great way of looking at things as well, too. That's a perfect... another thing that Bryan and I talk about, too, is the idea of validation. That's the other thing that we talk about. This idea of wanting to be happy, but also to be perceived as somebody that is happy as well. If that makes any sense to you, and I'm sure that it does.
Well, I think it's very. I use this word a lot. Innocent. I use this word because it helps us to translate how people act. And I'll use an example here. Is that while people who have committed crimes, and we have a system to deal with that right now, people in prison are, at their core, innocent. I've never met a person involved in crime that didn't have some sort of abuse in their childhood.
Right.
And by the way, this doesn't mean that they're just poor. They could be wealthy and have abuse. It could be sexual. It could be physical. It could be mental. It could be financial. It could be all of these things. And so this tortured, innocent soul comes in and begins, because of that trauma. And unlocking your trauma and bringing love to that person that got traumatized is your key to your freedom. So what do we do with people who are in prisons or who commit crimes? This is our solution. Ready for the solution? Oh, let's take them all, of these tortured souls, because we know that, because we're intelligent people. We've already broken down why they do crimes. And let's put them all together in a big concrete building with weights and inhumane food and inhumane treatment and inhumane conditions. Yeah, that's a good idea. And then, after they serve their time, we'll welcome them back into society. Oh, really? You welcome them back into society? You don't want them living near you. You want them to confess that if they've ever been in prison on a job application. Why? Well, because we still don't trust you.
Yeah, for some crimes you're not even allowed to vote.
Okay, so, right, incredible. I didn't know that.
Oh, yeah.
So what's amazing here is that we come from, so far, reward and punishment. Even we, as individuals, will reward and punish ourselves. Because Ron, you were talking about validation. But reward is validation. This becomes, you want to talk about what is the next step, the evolution of the human being? You want to know where I see it?
Yeah.
How technology is developing reflects how our inner technology exists. So can I break it down for you?
Mm-hmm.
Sure.
Here's my iPhone. Okay, so here's my iPhone. And we're constantly getting updates. What are updates? New information. And what do these updates do? They make your experience smoother. Hopefully. So when a new phone comes out, what's the criterion for a new phone to be better? Well, the first thing we all look at is how's the resolution on the camera? Resolution, meaning we want more saturated colors, more defined lines, and we want a better picture. In fact, we want even a bigger picture. The new iPhone will have a bigger screen. Oh, that's better. I have a more colorful visual. Number 2, it's lighter. But it should be not weak. It should be strong. So lighter in your system, think about the human being. They want to see everything more colorful. They want to see things more defined. They want a better picture. They also want to be lighter in their being, not weighed down by heaviness and negativity. And yet they don't want to be so-called airy-fairy. They want to be strong, but they also want to be light. Good, I'm in for the phone. Anything else about this phone that's better? Oh, yeah. The battery lasts longer. Oh, I want my battery to last longer. My inner battery, I definitely need that. I want my inner battery to last longer. What else? Well, it processes faster. Oh, I'm in. In fact, I want to be this phone. Right. What we create reflects how we really are, what we really are. And it is this through creation. I will tell you this, people listening out there, when you are not creating, you are dead.
Yeah.
I couldn't hear you, Brian.
Brian, you're mute.
I was just about to say I'm going to go back at that because I'm a musician as well, and I used to have a lot of music in my life, and life was better. It was happier. It was, you dealt with the problems better because you throw on a good song and everything worked out great. And as life took over the reality of the world, I pushed less and less music in there. Well, I've also noticed that stress has gone up. So we talk about vibrations, and ultimately, I started bringing it back in. I started creating again. I started drawing, playing music, listening to music, and you know what? Stuff rolls off a duck's ass because it doesn't start to matter. It's not important. Your priorities get better.
Well, can I tell you something? When it started to go downhill for you, when you no longer validated the musical reality of yourself, and you gave more validation to what you considered to be reality.
Right. That's the key. That's when I jumped on and I went to go help Ron out because I was doing another broadcast. Mm-hmm. We met in a different interview.
And talking about vibrations, I mean, we were definitely, the fates that be definitely brought Bryan and I together.
Talk about this. We were on an interview as Ron, myself, and my friend and the founder of Brownsville Paranormal Society, Al. We were on a round table. And during that interview, before it went to a network, they said, you guys should have your own show.
Absolutely.
And I said, oh, that'd be great. Ha, 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 because, whatever. And, I wanted to get Ron on our show. He's so knowledgeable about everything. He's a great, wonderful person. I mean, seriously, you don't meet too many people like this in the world. And I'm not just promoting because we're co-hosts. Yes. When you meet somebody you're supposed to meet, it's synchronicity, it's fate, kismet, right? So when we brought it on, it just started to work, and it felt right. And don't get me wrong, it went from going from once a month to once a week. It's a bigger burden. But the rapport and the relationship we have now, it's meant to be.
But something in you guys, see, your sensitivity is what made you aware of that. So people out there, everyone who's listening, you don't need to be less sensitive now. because you know how things get to you. You need to be even more sensitive now. But you have to redirect it in your spiritual intelligence, your emotional intelligence that lets you think. Make this a part of your baseline on how you see the world is personal evolution for you and everyone else. What does that mean? You came here to be you, to discover yourself, and to create yourself. It doesn't have to be one or the other.
Agreed.
Notice that when you create yourself, you do discover yourself. Notice when you discover yourself, you're also creating yourself because there's an action and a thought process and a flow going on with that. And when you leave that alone, and it only becomes about the bills, and it only becomes about politics, and it only becomes about your opinion machine going on. We're turning into opinionatrons. Because
100%.
it's going to change. And you go, well, it doesn't. Well, I'm sorry, I can't probably trust you then. I don't know who it was who said it, but he said, it might have been Khalil Gibran, the author of The Prophet, but I think he wrote, never trust someone who doesn't change their mind.
Yeah, but what a true statement. And seeing is, we're blessed to have you here, and I'm not just saying it. I mean, I do mean it. One of the wonderful things is, we grew up together here, and I got to be brutally honest. When we talk, I still get it. I don't normally get this. I get gooseflesh because I know it's bringing me back to a point in my life where life was simpler, wasn't it, Riz?
Yeah.
It was. The future's so bright. We had to wear shades. You had to play drums. I was playing bass and guitar, and our friends who have gone before us, who God bless them. But it's wonderful coming. It's like coming home, and love having you here. And you're welcome on all the time. We have about 16 minutes left, and
sure.
You have done so much. I know that he's in the Sedona Journal. You have a ton of articles in that.
Yes.
You have a book out, Red Eagle Speaks.
Yes.
Correct?
Let's talk about it.
Yes, well, please.
Let's talk about spirit.
Right there. Yes.
Everyone has them, and you have channeling. Channeling. What is channeling? Channeling is when you step out of the way. And you allow the force of the universe to flow through you, whether you are channeling a spirit guide, as mediums do, or you are channeling a speech, or you are channeling even cooking a meal, or you're channeling a conversation with anyone where the words are coming out of your mouth. You're kind of on automatic pilot, and there's some things that you can't believe you're saying, but they land, and then later you go, who said that? I just say that? Yeah, I guess you did. Maybe it was the spirit guide, maybe it was your future self, maybe it was just this universe, but the point is that you stepped out of the way and you allow this energy to flow through you. Spirit guides are our very, very advanced teachers that are around us. You have a team of spirit guides that work with you. Some of those spirit guides are what I call temps, that they come along to help you through certain situations. And I believe that you have your permanent crew. You have your gatekeeper. You always have one main spirit guide that works with you. Their job is not to interfere in your life. Their job is to have a kind of siblinghood with you, or an older siblinghood with you, to be your big brother or big sister, and to suggest to you, to help guide you, lead you a little bit. You do have your free will, of course, but you are allowing yourself to open up. Prayer for some people is a kind of meditation. The challenge with prayer in the traditional sense is if you're asking for stuff during prayer, it's a little difficult to let yourself be open to that the universe is saying, we're giving you what you need right now. Stop asking for what you want. And then prayer could be, I'm just really, really grateful. All of those are great things. No problem with any of it. But there also has to be another place of meditation in your life where you are letting go and stepping into a higher consciousness. You are stepping out of the way. So when I channel and the spirits began to speak to me, they first started by conveying through writing. I was doing something called automatic writing. And I encourage everyone. Yes, wonderful. And I can encourage people to look into that and find some good teaching on that. And I'm going to be actually teaching that. I'm actually in about a month and a half, I'm going to have a course called Intro to the Mystical Arts, which will be available online. You can download it. It's a 5-week course.
Great.
And all video segments that I'm going to walk you through everything from understanding how to clear the energy in a room using your tools such as sage and sweetgrass and burning frankincense and crystals, so the physical aspects of clearing energy in a room, to the spiritual aspects of clearing energy in a room, to the spiritual aspects of clearing energy in yourself, learning about spirit guides. So each week over the 5-week course, I'll be showing you something that are the basics to help you. And even people who are advanced in this area, it's always good to go back and do a refresher on the basics. I love to do that as well. So channeling in the spirits. Well, we've been doing it all over the world. And what I've noticed about the spirit guides is very interesting, because there are many guides who come through who are names that you have known. I've channeled Tesla. I've channeled, and even Thomas Edison, for all the people who say Edison versus Tesla. I channeled Merlin and many other figures who are in history. But then there are spirit guides you've never heard of. And you guys all have them. And you also have animal totems. Animal totems are spirit guides who come in the form of an animal whose qualities they are trying to pass on to you.
How do we figure that out?
Well, it's always good to have... to me, meditation is key. It's key. You also can do shamanic experiences if you have a good shaman and partake in that, but that's another conversation entirely.
Ron and I have to go out to the ranch because we don't have a good shamanic experience right now.
I will, if you guys come out, I will lead you in it. But
I'd love to be there, and I'd love to do a CE5 with you. Try to get in contact with some of the extraterrestrials that's around this planet. As an attempt. Because I know that you do that.
Yes, I did a series last year called The Alien Reality, and it was also 5 weeks of channeling where there is an ET presence that I do channel who call themselves the Friends. What a beautiful name.
Nice.
And they began to talk about how human evolution has everything to do with soulful, personal, individual awareness. But we are in the phase right now of duality and contrast as being the catalyst. What is duality and contrast? This is good, that's bad.
Right.
That's a good person, that's a bad person. Well, guess what? Some of your best friends are people you didn't like at first, and some people who, and the reverse is true.
Yeah, 100%.
Okay, so they were talking about how you will step out of that. And even things about now, because we have gender fluidity coming forward, where people who it's been since the beginning of time, but now it's coming out forward. It is about, they're both yin and yang. There's another place for them to be. Right. Notice how many, I gotta say this is very interesting, because notice how many alien experiences people say, both of the genders kind of look the same.
It's very interesting how it does relate to, these experiences that people have with what's taking place currently in society.
Yes.
And it's wonderful. One of the things I love about this, and we're going to get back because we have about 10 minutes left, but I just want to let all of our fans know that everything Riz has mentioned, the alien sessions that you've been doing, the new automatic writing classes that you're going to be posting. Yes. We're going to post it on our InsideTheGoblinUniverse.com website. We're going to post it in the Facebook group. Riz is now a member of the Goblin Universe. Well, he's always been one, but
I've always
anything. So we're gonna be able to put you in contact with Riz so that you can experience this. And I beg you to go out to his circle of light in person, because he's a wonderful human being, and he's the vibe you're getting off of this, which I think is fantastic and powerful, is nothing compared to when you meet this man. He is a wonderful person.
Thank you. Bless. Thank you so much. And if you can make it out here to Los Angeles, great. Anytime you guys are here.
It's supposed to snow next week. Yes, I'll come out.
But yeah, we are going to do the Circle of Light streaming within another 5 to 6 weeks. It will actually be on where people just pay $10 and literally be able to be part of the Circle of Light live channeling, and
Nice.
it'll be global. So we're looking forward to that. I wanted to talk about, if you guys have an interest in spirit guides, and I think a little bit of Ron's background and talking about these ideas of mythological beings. Just even this word mythology, I would love to be done with it, because someone once asked me, and I've been channeling Merlin for years, and they said, well, Merlin wasn't a real person. How can you channel someone who's just a literary character? And I said, well, where do I begin? Because there's a lot of characters in certain books that are accepted, right? We don't need to say what those books are, that you accept and you have your whole life based around them. And I'm not saying that they are mythological. I'm just telling you that spirit guides, what if Merlin is so Merlin is a spirit guide, and he's conveying the idea of magic, and I'm not talking about illusions. I'm talking about the magic of life. And he is coming to a would-be author as an inspiration, saying, I'm going to communicate to this author, and I'm going to show him the whole world of magic. And it's a real spirit guide. And so that author, wherever hundreds of years ago, begins to write about, the name was different back then, but everybody can do the research online, the name that would become Merlin. And the whole time he's just been a spirit guide. And King Arthur was a spirit guide. And all these other, Guinevere was a spirit guide to represent divine femininity and all these other different aspects of creation. And so they are real. What is real? What a question. What's the proof of something being real? They're going to say tangible. That's relative. You go, well, if I hit you with this ball on the head, that's not relative. Yeah, but what's relative is if, A, I even believe there's a you.
Right.
What if I believe that you're me? You're just a part of my consciousness speaking to me. And they'll go, oh, you're just, okay, Judd, enough of that. Put you out there. Well, then that's where I exist. So where do we go with that conversation? The point is my reality is how I choose to feel. And one thing I want to leave in this session with everyone who's listening is, yes, you do choose how to feel. Once you realize what your triggers are.
Right.
See, someone comes up to me and says, I don't know, something about me that I don't think is true, or something to hurt me. I may go on and say, well, I already know that people who say hurtful things are in pain themselves. So if you come up and say something hurtful, I'm not even going into the trigger because I've already handled that part of myself. So I'll just listen. Say all the stuff you want to say. I'm listening. My validation for it there doesn't need to be any validation, because I am understanding that I'm creating my reality at this moment. So my world becomes very interesting suddenly. Yep. Why? Because I'm interested. I'm interested in how reality is playing out and how I'm interacting with it. You got to get interested, man. It takes energy to bounce back, to come back from the dead. So whatever changes you guys listening out there who are trying to figure out how to get through this shift, you are being asked to come back from the dead. Okay? That's all that's happening to you right now. The parts of you that were dying, the parts of you that you're getting tired or getting old, no matter how old you are. You could be 22 and feeling old. So you're being asked by your future self, do you want to come back from the dead? Do you want to make this next 10, 20, 30, 40, whatever years you got left, do you want to make them count? For you. For you. Because it doesn't feel good to be in a body that's breaking. It doesn't feel good to be with your spirit that's breaking. So this is your opportunity. Whatever is happening that is rocking your world right now, it's because it's supposed to be rocked right now. I want you to change that rock into a swaying, inside of yourself and change that swing into a groove, and that groove into something that's musical, and that musicality is something that is poetic, and that poeticness inside of you is something that has to do with you are actually happy that you get to be you, the real you, the you that maybe has been sleeping or watching from the sidelines for a long, long time. And I know that it hurts, but the shell is just cracking. The being inside is not cracking. It's the shell. There's another shell you didn't know that was there. And when your heart is breaking, it is that the shell around your heart is breaking. It is not that your heart is breaking. If a rose is in a vase and the vase falls off the table and the vase breaks, the rose didn't break. So we sweep up the vase and we go back to the rose that we get to see revealed. And that idea, if that isn't at the basis of your life, and as a medium, I will tell you, I've spoken to people who are on their deathbeds and they wanted to see a medium. And that experience, in the end, that's all that's going to matter to you is whether you took in the beauty of your life experience or you didn't. It's not a cliche. Then love is a cliche.
Right.
Okay, so live a cliched life. Just say everything is cliched. Go back to your everything sucks. Rather than, oh my God, I didn't realize evolution was this big, and I got to understand fear, and I got to start acting from love even more. So that's what's happening. I think the next time we talk, we should go into that, how that's playing out.
Definitely.
Yeah.
I love this, and I don't want to be the cliche, but we're getting to a certain
I know.
point. And Riz has so much stuff to do. See, it's different where you are, where we are. But I love this because if you don't feel good after this program, maybe they are dead. Maybe your shell is just not cracked. You have enlightened so many people, and I'm just so blessed that we've had you on the program. Where can they get your book, the first book that you have?
Okay, so where they can get the book? Well, the new book is what I really want to talk about.
Please.
The new book.
We've got about 3 minutes.
Books coming out this year. There's 5 books coming out this year. They're all the same title. It's called Master Your Reality, a Red Eagle book. So there's volumes 1 through 5, which are coming out. And that first one will be out in the end of April. Okay. And they can find me either on Facebook, Riz Mirza, R-I-Z, Riz, Mirza, M-I-R-Z-A, Riz Mirza, on Facebook, or rizmirza.com, or on Instagram. My name is Psychic Riz the Wiz, and you can get in touch with me there. It will be on Amazon. It will be, it'll be everywhere that you can go online and find it. And each volume will go into different aspect of mastering your reality.
It sounds like a fantastic series.
It's all channeled. Red Eagle dictating this book in trance from beginning to end.
And it's giving your wife a lot of writing to do, putting down notes.
How did you know that? That's actually true. Yes.
I know a lot. I know that I'm very intuitive, but the whole thing is, it's wonderful. And when the book comes out, if you have the moment and you can, because I know you'll probably be doing a tour, please, we are a vessel that you can use. You are family, and you're here anytime you want to say anything. Ron and I, it's like literally, I want to hop on today, 5 minutes.
Well, let's do a part 2. If you guys are up for it, I'm totally up for it. Let's get into magic and all these things.
Oh, I cannot wait.
Focus.
Yeah, no, the idea, I really want to focus on that because, a lot of my writing has to deal with the idea of archetypes and the idea of origins, the historiosity of certain things. So the idea that Merlin is a spirit guide makes perfect sense to me, as well as all Arthurian legends, because it means something to who we are. But yeah, I cannot wait. We'll do that the next time, and I'm really excited about this.
Well, such a pleasure, Ron and Bryan. Really, real pleasure, and Happy New Year to everyone who listens to Inside the Goblin Universe.
Right, right back at you. It's going to be a great new year. I know it is. Just start thinking positive. Ron, we have roughly about 30 seconds to go.
Yeah. Well, I just wanted to tell Riz. Yeah, thank you so much for all of your help. I really am looking at my life a lot differently now from just that hour that we spent together. So, and I'm hoping to get out there to LA and actually meet you in person someday, my friend.
You guys come together, we'll have a great time.
Hey, thank you very much. All right, so I guess I'll have to sign off. Until next time, I promise you, folks, We will definitely have this gentleman on with us again in the very near future. But for now, little goblins, until our next show, my name is Ronald Murphy.
I'm Bryan Bowden.
And we'll see you next week inside the Goblin Universe.
Be well.
Bye-bye.
The concept of shape-shifting is ingrained on our psyche, lurking in our collective unconscious and stalking our nightmares. Crypto guru Ronald Murphy tracks the dogmen through history, beginning with the hunt in the dim beginnings of the human race, and follows the tenuous tracks of a werewolf to the modern age. This compelling study seeks the monster in all of us, but more importantly shows the readers the man behind the wolf. On Dogman is available on Amazon.com.